Okay, welcome to Word Without Walls. Welcome to the Wednesday night sunlight service. The title for tonight's message is The Extra Mile. And this is what I've been ranting on for the last couple of days and the next couple of days on JesusRant.com. But it really gripped me, so I wanted to present it in this way also, with preaching it as well as just ranting about it, because I really, really, truly believe that we are not necessarily called to put ourselves ever into a bad situation. And I think that there are times when God will lead us through bad situations, but I think at the same time, this abundant life that we've been given to live, it's not supposed to be hard. We're not supposed to have to struggle. We're not supposed to have to overreach, and we're not supposed to have to burden ourselves. It's kind of like the old saying that says, if you work for a living, why do you kill yourself working? It's like, okay, we are supposed to go the extra mile for people, and that's what we're going to look at tonight. But I want to focus on how we go the extra mile, what it means to go the extra mile. And in a nutshell, to give away the end of my sermon first, I think that if you give something everything that you've got, it's either enough or it's not. And either way, you've done your part. I think if you give it all you've got, that's what it is. But if you give it what you've got, not if you give it what you want, not if you give it what you think it should have, not if you... I mean, I really don't think we're supposed to kill ourselves trying to go the extra mile for people in the sense of overextending ourselves, in the sense of overreaching ourselves. I think it's supposed to be easy. I think it's supposed to be a flow. I think you give what you've got, not what you haven't got. And I think that goes along with what I always say about how you can only give what you have, and you can't give what you don't have. So when we're talking about going the extra mile for somebody, that doesn't mean giving more than you've got, because you can't give more than you've got. So let's look at a couple of scriptures, and hopefully I'll be able to bring this out. But basically, again, my thought for tonight is, if you give something everything you've got, you've done your part. That's it. We're supposed to live and give out of our abundance, not out of our lack. We're not supposed to try to give something we don't have. We're not supposed to try to step outside of ourselves. We're supposed to be ourselves to the fullest, give what we've got to the fullest, go the extra mile for people. But again, if you can't do something, you can't do it. And if you try to do something you can't do, you're probably going to do more harm than good anyway. But let's go ahead and look at some scriptures on this. And the first one I want to read is Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 through 42. And I want to read it in the King James and in the Message Bible. In the King James it reads like this, and this is the red letters, this is Jesus speaking. Ye have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. And that's where I got my title from, the extra mile. Okay? And then in verse 42 it says, give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. And I think that in verse 42 we see how we do verse 41. We go the extra mile by giving what we've got. If somebody asks you for something and you've got it, meet a need. That's all. That's what you need to do. That's how you go an extra mile. By giving somebody what they ask for, by giving somebody what they need. And that's what it says in another place. I think it's James, where it talks about, you know, faith without works is dead, and it talks about if somebody's hungry and cold, and you say, all right, God, you know, peace be with you, but you don't feed them and you don't clothe them, then you haven't really done anything. But if you see a need and you meet that need, you've just gone the extra mile. And really, I think it's in Romans where it talks about how, you know, maybe somebody would die for a good person. And it talks about, you know, how Jesus laid down his life for all of us. There's a different kind of love there. And that's what Jesus said the greatest expression of love is. He said, no greater love can a man have than to lay his life down for his friends. And then he went to the cross and he literally laid his life down for us. And I think that's how we lay our lives down for each other. We give everything we've got. I have it, you need it, I'll give it to you. I've received it from the Lord, I can release it to you. But now look at this in the Message Bible, because it really almost kind of brings out kind of a very different point of view on this. Matthew chapter 5, starting with verse 38, in the Message Bible reads like this. Here's another old saying that deserves a second look. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Is that going to get us anywhere? Here's what I propose. Don't hit back at all. If someone strikes you, stand there and take it. If someone drags you into court and sues for the shirt off your back, gift wrap your best coat and make a present of it. And if someone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. No more tit-for-tat stuff. Live generously. And I think, again, how do we go the extra mile? We live generously. We don't let other people dictate to us how we're going to behave towards them. Okay? Again, it says, if someone takes unfair advantage of you, use the occasion to practice the servant life. Okay? I mean, really, if somebody sues you for your, what does it say, sues you for your shirt, for the shirt off your back, and then you turn around and you give them your coat too. Let me say this first of all. If somebody's suing you for the shirt off your back, it's probably because they're in need, right? Because, I'll say it again, you can't give what you don't have, and you can only give what you do have. If somebody's hurting you, it's because that's what they have. They have hurt. If someone's bitter towards you, it's because that's what they have. They have bitterness. And they probably have it so big and so heavy that it overflows. Because what's inside comes out naturally. Or really what you believe is inside comes out naturally. So if somebody's being mean to you, it probably has a lot less to do with you than it does with them. Because they're just giving you what they have. But here's the thing, you don't have to receive what they have. And you don't have to give it back to them the same way. It's not an eye for an eye. It's not a tooth for a tooth. It's not this tit-for-tat lifestyle. You can break the cycle. You can break the chain. You can say, okay, you hurt me. And I understand that you're coming from a place of hurt. So instead of giving hurt back to you and just making it grow and snowball and get bigger and bigger, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the chain, I'm going to break the cycle. I'm going to say, you give me hurt, I'm going to give you love. You give me what you've got and I'm going to give you what I've got. I'm not going to take what you've got and then return it to you. I'm going to take what my Heavenly Father has given me and I'm going to release it to you. I'm going to receive it and I'm going to release it. I'm going to go the extra mile for you. Not because of what you've done, not because of who you are, but because of what Jesus has done and because of who I am. We don't have to let the world dictate our actions to us. We don't have to be a thermometer that just takes a temperature. We can be a thermostat and we can set the temperature. We can go the extra mile for somebody by taking what looks like a bad situation and using it as an opportunity to what does it say? To practice the servant life. Instead of saying, this is what you give me, I'm going to give it right back. How about, I don't care what you give me because I have love. So that's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to lay my life down for you. I'm going to go the extra mile for you, no matter what. I'm going to give you what you need instead of giving you what you've given me. I don't need to give it right back to you. And in fact, if you give me something like hurt or like bitterness or whatever it is, I don't have room for it because I'm too full of love. So you can try to give it to me, but I'm not going to receive it, and I'm just going to give you what I have. And then again, it's not my responsibility if you receive it or not. Because if I do my best, then I've done my part. It's like God told one of the prophets, I always blame Jeremiah, but I don't think it's Jeremiah. I think it's one of the other ones. He told him, tell the people what I'm going to tell you. They're not going to listen to you, but tell them anyway. Because then you've done your part. And that's, I think a lot of times we get so stuck on our expectations, we get so stuck on what we think should happen, that we miss out on the fact that all we're supposed to do is just receive and release God's love. That's what we're here for. We're not here to make sure other things go other ways. We're here to be loved and to love each other with that same love. And then whatever happens with that, that's not my responsibility, that's God's responsibility. When I started my ministry a long time ago, my pastor told me, you can't make people do anything. You can't make people believe anything. You can't make people accept anything. All you can do is listen to what God's telling you and try to tell it the best you can and love people no matter what. And I said, okay, that makes my ministry a lot easier. I'm not responsible for how you receive my message. I'm not responsible for what you do with it or don't do with it. All I'm responsible for is listening to God, telling you what I think He says, and loving you no matter what. And that's what it means to go the extra mile for somebody. To love them no matter what. To give them everything you've got, regardless of what they've got, and regardless of what they're giving you. Let's look at Luke chapter 3, because I think it says it a lot better than I can say it anyway. Luke chapter 3, and I want to read verses 10 and 11, but I'm going to back up a little bit, and this is John talking, and when we get to Luke chapter 3 verse 10, it reads, "And the people asked him, saying, What shall we do then?" And this is a question that I find myself asking quite a bit. What should I do? What can I do in this situation? Because I always want to be a help, and I don't want to be a hurt, alright? And that's another question I ask myself. Is what I'm doing, is it helping or hurting? And if it's hurting, I don't want to do it. So I always ask myself, what should I do? What should I do in this situation? How can I glorify God in this situation? How can I bring love and healing and acceptance and mercy and grace into this situation? And the people asked him, saying, What shall we do then? He answereth and saith unto them, He that hath 2 coats, let him impart to him that hath none. And he that hath meat, let him do likewise. If you can meet a need, meet it. If you have 2 coats and somebody has 0 coats, give them a coat. You don't need 2 of them and they need 1. Just meet a need. And look, it doesn't say it doesn't say go into debt getting somebody a coat. It doesn't say overreach. It doesn't say overextend. It says live out of abundance. You have abundance, share it. Spread it around. It doesn't say give someone the coat off your back and freeze to death. It says if you have 2 coats and somebody has 0, meet a need. Live out of abundance. You've been blessed to be a blessing. Okay? I think God gives us things so that we can enjoy them. But more than that, I think God gives us things so that we can then give things. Okay? Because I keep saying it today, I'm going to keep saying it. You can't give what you don't have. And you can only give what you do have. So if God gives you something, now you have something to give. If God blesses you with 2 coats, now you have an extra coat. Now you can share out of your abundance. And it's basically the exact same in the Message Bible. It says, the crowd asked him, Then what are we supposed to do? If you have 2 coats, give 1 away, he said. Do the same with your food. And that's what I alluded to. Again, I think it's in the book of James, where it says, if someone's hungry or if someone's cold, don't say, all right, God bless, and leave them in their same state. How does that help anybody? It says, meet a need. It says, if someone's hungry, feed them. If somebody's cold, clothe them. And those are 2 of the most basic human needs that there are. And I'll tell you this, if somebody's hungry, it's really hard for them to listen to theological debates. It's really hard for them to hear anything other than the grumbling of their stomach. Okay? That's one of the most basic human needs that there is. If someone's hungry, feed them. If someone's cold, clothe them. Just take care of people on that level that they understand. Alright? Going the extra mile for somebody doesn't mean making them jump through hoops in order to get what you've got. Going the extra mile for somebody means giving them what they need. If you have it. If you have it. Again, it doesn't say, go steal a coat and give it to somebody. It doesn't say, go into debt to get a coat to give it to somebody. It says, if you have 2 coats and somebody needs 1, give it to them. Live generously. Take care of what you can take care of. Lay down your life for your friends, but it doesn't mean overextend your life for your friend. Don't get into a bad situation trying to help somebody. If you can help them, help them. And that's what I say all the time. I can't do everything, but what I can do, I will do. And I'll do it gladly, because I can do it. And that's what we're going to get to in my last passage here. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. This is actually a passage that I don't really preach a whole lot. It's about us all being different parts of the same body. But I want to skip through a lot of it. I want to get to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, starting with verse 20. And in the King James it reads like this. But now are they many members, yet but one body. And I really think if we understood how connected we are, if we really understood that we're one body, we're one new man, and his name is Jesus, I really think that would get rid of a lot of our petty squabbles, a lot of our differences, because we would understand that by helping you, I'm helping myself. Because we're all in this together. We're all the same. We're different members of the same body. It goes on and says, and the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body, which seem to be more feeble, are necessary. And this is where I really wanted to focus my message on today, because a lot of times it seems like we look at weakness as a sign of weakness. We look at needing help as a sign of weakness. We look at, oh, you can't do that yourself? Well, what good are you then? When really, it says, those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. We absolutely need each other. And if you're weak in one area that I'm strong in, I'm probably weak in an area that you're strong in. And when we fit together, then it all makes sense. If I have a piece and you have a piece, together we have a bigger piece. Right? And not only that, but God told the Apostle Paul, he said, my strength is made perfect in weakness. Okay? Being weak that's in a sense, that's what God wants. That's what God needs. That's what God can use. Because if you're trying to do it yourself, I think God will let you. But if you know that you need Him, then He says, okay, now I have room to operate. Now that you're done trying to do it yourself, now that you're done banging your head against the wall and giving yourself a headache, now that you're going to sit down and rest and let me do what I can do, now I'm going to show you what I can do. My strength is going to be made perfect in your weakness. You can't do something yourself, and that's great, because now I can do it. I can do it with you, and I can do it in you, and I can do it through you, and I can do it as you. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I said, sometimes I think God will bring us through a bad situation, but I don't think He wants us to put ourselves in a bad situation. I don't think He wants us to get into a place where all of a sudden we need to break glass in case of emergency. I think if we start with Him, that we'll avoid a lot of things that we end up, crying out for Him for. But again, verse 22 says, nay, much more, those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. And those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon those we bestow more abundant honor. And our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need. If you can do it yourself, I think God will try to, if you think you can do it yourself, I think God will let you try to do it yourself. But God hath tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to the part which lacked. All throughout the Scriptures, God would pick the most unlikely people to do the things that He wanted them to do. All of the mighty men of God didn't seem very mighty until they had an experience with God. He took, okay, for example, Moses, a murderer and a stutterer, to lead and speak for the people. He took their weaknesses and he filled in the cracks, if I can say it that way, and He made them whole. And again, I love the story of Moses not being a good talker. And God says, you know what, fine, I'll give you your brother to talk for you. When people say God works in mysterious ways, I always kind of chuckle a little bit, because I think God works through people. He says, if you can't do it yourself, I'm going to give you someone to do it with you. He joins us together with each other so we can help each other. Something I may not be good at, something you are good at, He's going to put us together. He's going to link us up so that together, right, together we can do anything. Okay, the Scripture speaks about Jesus being altogether lovely. And I think if you flip that, you find out that all these many members of His body, that we are lovely all together. Okay? So when we connect, when we understand that we're all members of the same body, then instead of I'm better and you're worse, then instead of I'm needed and you're not, then it's we're all needed. We're all in this together. We can all connect with each other and help each other. Even those that you think are not honorable, they end up sometimes being the most honorable. It says in verse 25 that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another. So what I guess I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter who you are or what you're capable of. When we all work together, we can get the job done. If I do what I can do and you do what you can do, if I help you do what you can't do and you help me do what I can't do, then it'll all get done. Then it'll all work together as one body, as one new man, as one heart and one spirit. Okay? It's not about me elevating myself. It's not about me making myself look big by making someone else look small. It's not about me looking down on somebody unless I'm reaching down to help them up. Doing what I can do. And then if I help you, then you'll do what you can do and you'll help me. Let me read it in the Message Bible. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, starting with verse 19. It says, "But I also want you to think about how this keeps your significance from getting blown up into self-importance. Remember opportunities to practice the servant life, not getting to the place where we think, hey, you hurt me, I'll hurt you back, but instead saying, I know why you're hurting, let me help you. We don't want our significance to blow up into self-importance. It says, for no matter how significant you are, it is only because of what you are a part of. An enormous eye or a gigantic hand wouldn't be a body, but a monster. What we have is one body with many parts, each its proper size and in its proper place. No part is important on its own. Can you imagine eye telling hand, get lost, I don't need you? Or head telling foot, you're fired, your job has been phased out. As a matter of fact, in practice, it works the other way. The lower the part, the more basic and therefore necessary. The most basic things in life are the most necessary things in life. Like I said, if you're hungry, it's hard to care about anything else. If you're cold, it's hard to care about anything else other than getting warm. If you don't have those basic needs met, you don't care about any of this other stuff. It says, you can live without an eye, for instance, but not without a stomach. When it's part of your own body you are concerned with, it makes no difference whether the part is visible or clothed, higher or lower. You give it dignity and honor just as it is, without comparisons. If anything, you have more concern for the lower parts than the higher. If you had to choose, wouldn't you prefer good digestion to full-bodied hair? The way God designed our bodies is a model for understanding our lives together as a church. Every part dependent on every other part. The parts we mention and the parts we don't. The parts we see and the parts we don't. If one part hurts, every other part is involved in the hurt and in the healing. If one part flourishes, every other part enters into the exuberance. So again, if I understand that we are connected, then helping you is really helping myself because we're connected. We're in this together. If I hurt you in order to help myself, I'm not really helping myself. Or if I hurt myself to help you, I'm not really helping you. Going the extra mile does not mean me hurting myself in order to help someone else. It doesn't mean me overextending. It doesn't mean me overreaching. It means me living generously. It means me living out of my abundance. It means me taking care of what I can take care of. And then once I take care of you, you take care of what you can take care of. The Bible talks in another place about looking on the things of each other instead of the things of ourselves. Alright? If I take care of you and you take care of me, neither one of us has to take care of ourselves. And then we're not self-centered, then we're Christ-centered or people-centered. Then, when we don't have to worry about ourselves, then it's easy to go the extra mile for someone else. It's easy to give what you've got when you know that you're taken care of. It's easy to share out of abundance when you have abundance. Okay, if all you have is one coat and you see somebody else who's cold, that might pain your heart, but it'd be hard to give up that one coat you've got. But if you've got abundance, If you have a coat at home, it's easy to say, you know what, I'm not even using this one. And I think that's how love is supposed to be. I think love's supposed to be easy. I think it's supposed to be natural. And I understand sacrificial love, but I also understand going the extra mile for somebody just simply means doing what you can do. Doing everything you can do, but just doing what you can do. Staying true to yourself, staying true to what you're capable of. Because you don't have to do it all. There's another part of the body that can do things that you can't. So don't worry about the things you can't do. Just do what you can do, where you're at, to who you come in contact with. Don't kill yourself trying to make a living. Don't kill yourself trying to help someone else. Just do what you can do. And if you can't help somebody, the best thing you can do is to tell them that you can't. So that way they're not depending on you. That way they can try to find somebody else to ask for help. And I don't think asking for help is a sign of weakness. I think it's a sign of wisdom. Because we all need help. And when we understand that we all need help, then we can stop looking down on each other. Oh, he needs help. He can't even do it himself. Well, if you help me, I won't have to do it myself. If you help me, then it'll get taken care of. We can do it together. We can share an experience. We can grow closer. We can build our relationship or our friendship. And we can get it done. We can take care of all of it. We can make sure that, again, that there's no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another. But again, but I want to caution you, I'm almost finished, but I want to caution you, don't do something for someone else in the hopes that they'll do something for you. That's not what we're talking about here. If you're loving somebody to try to get something from them, that's not love at all. Because love is never about getting. Love is always about giving, because love is giving. For God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son. God proved His love for us in that He died for us when we were yet sinners, when we couldn't do anything for Him. He didn't say, I'm going to die for you so that I can get something from you. He said, I'm going to die for you so that I can give something to you, so that I can give my life for you and give my life to you. I want you to have something, so I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to give it to you just only because I want you to have it. It's a gift. Alright? You don't expect someone to pay you back when you give them a gift. You expect someone to receive it. You expect someone to, probably really you expect someone to be grateful, but even then, so what if they're not? If you're giving someone a gift so that they'll be grateful, it's not really a gift. If you're being kind so that you can get something, it's not really kindness. And if you're trying to get something, it's not love. Love is never about getting. It's about receiving what you've already been given and about releasing what you already have. Going the extra mile for somebody is sharing what you've got, not trying to get something you don't have, not trying to overreach, not trying to overextend, not trying to kill yourself. Going the extra mile for somebody is just, it's not letting them dictate to you, but instead it's just saying, this is what I have, this is what I'll give you. I think it was Peter who when a cripple looked up to him expecting something, he said, silver and gold have I none, but what I have I give unto you. Rise, take up your bed and walk. He gave what was really needed instead of what the surface need was. He said, I can't help you in every way, but I'm going to help you the way that I can. And the way that we can help each other is really the way that we need to help each other, the way that we need to be helped by each other. Because what we have to give is love, and that's what we all need. So if we share it, then it grows. We go the extra mile by doing everything that we can do. Not by doing what we can't do, not by doing what we shouldn't do, not by doing what we're not capable of, but just simply by doing what we are capable of. By giving what we've got, by releasing what we've received. That's how we go the extra mile, and again, that's taking what looks like a problem and turning it into an opportunity to practice the servant life. Turning it into an opportunity to love somebody, to show them a more excellent way by going the extra mile. I think if we really start just doing everything we can do for people, I think it'll shock some people because I don't think people are used to necessarily getting help from people. I think they're afraid to ask for help, and I think they're afraid that they'll get rejected and they won't get help. But if we stand up and we say, yeah, come to me for help, then people will have something that they didn't have before. Then we will give something. Then we will fill a need. Then we'll be there for people and help people and love people. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to be loved and to love each other. So that's what I have for this week. Thank you so much, as always, for all of your support, for the attendance and the videos and the books and the blogs and all of it. JesusRant.com. Thank you so much for all of your support. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Amen.